frontier is defined as uncharted territory by land or ocean. Those who chart that territory tell a story. The past illustrates the blueprint for the present, how things are and how they've evolved. From land to water, we are challenged to border that new frontier, a frontier the outdoorsman knows like no other. Author Gary Lewis works his way along that edge of where discoveries, failures, and achievements have written the story of the sportsman.
Yes! Yes!
From state to state, continent to continent, the stories told create the foundation of the present, and they lay the framework for the future. Through the muzzle fire and on the stone are stories from the edge.
Water is the most important thing as far as Indians are concerned, 'cause that's life.
The past is written, the present is here, and this is Frontier Unlimited. Driving slowly down an old stagecoach road, Lewis is no stranger to southern Oregon, with its oak savanna and poison oak. He's hunted with Lee Sandberg for many years, who was a paramedic, rancher, avid hunter, and knowledgeable on all things having to do with land and wildlife management.
Take anything to shoot anything, huh?
Dan and Debbie Getz of Warren Scope Mounts were looking to fill their first tags in Oregon for Blacktail bucks, carrying bolt-action rifles, the same guns they carried in New Zealand, topped with good scopes and stoked with Nosler 129 grain AccuBond long-range bullets.
We're on this really special piece of property. I've been hearing about this for a couple of years, and now I get to see it, and it's just classic oak savanna. And we got a really good bowl to look into up here. We're gonna walk just another 20 yards, get to a little knob here, and then we're gonna glass across. Might sit here for a long time. See what we can see across the way.
Look up there. Lee says he sees him. The damn guide found one way up there. But he's walking from us. I think he's in the trees already.
I'm just walking over the bridge into the timber.
Okay. This is an old wagon stagecoach road, and Lee was telling me that this was the main road that connected the towns on the coast with the area around Roseburg.
Wow.
So this is where you picture trundling through here on a stagecoach.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot bumpier road too, before road graders.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
On that slope, that far slope, right up at the very top. So one of the little wrinkles about this hunt, which makes it a little more interesting, is that there's a deer here that we can't shoot, and it's the Columbia whitetail. And to get a Columbia whitetail tag, you have to apply for it, and you might have to apply for several years. But anyway, they live in the bottoms of the creeks and the river bottoms more often. So whenever we see a deer, the first question you ask, is it a blacktail or a whitetail? To quickly tell, you look at the face, and the whitetail has a ring around its nose, white ring, and then white rings around its eyes. And the ears are not as long as the blacktail ears.
Okay.
And then the tail, of course, is the other factor. When it runs, it'll lift up its tail, and they flag, kind of like this. Sometimes the blacktail flags too, but they've got usually a black brush of a tail, like a little black paintbrush kind of a tail. When we see deer up on tops, they're usually blacktails. When we see deer down in the bottoms, they can be blacktails or whitetails.
Okay.
Now, there's a lot of deer that don't know the rules. But anyway, it makes it kind of fun. Most of the deer we'll see are blacktails.
right up there in that kind of opening, and there's a tree that kind of leans out this way. Right underneath it is you can see a doe. We're just scratching the surface. There's got to be more deer around here. Cows are really loud because the rancher just weaned the babies off of them, and so they're crying about it. The hillside over here is all brown, and they were commenting on how it's brown up there and it's green and nice looking down here, and that's the difference between grazing and not grazing. So it's just all the dead matter that hasn't ever been ate off or burned off or anything. Just chokes out all the good green grass.
Down toward the bottom, or?
Gary Lewis and Lee Sandberg are hosting Dan and Debbie Getz from Warren Scope Mounts on their first hunt for blacktail deer. The location is Southwest Oregon, outside of Roseburg, in good blacktail deer country. After spotting a buck from down low, they made their way. Debbie would take the first buck they
We're
found.
gonna have to, I guess, get someone over there to, I guess, just walk down in there and see where it lands. Which hopefully there's gonna be no poison oak to get on your hands, or your feet, or your face. Do you prefer to carry one in the chamber with safety on, or you prefer not to?
It depends on what you want me to do. So,
Whatever you feel safe. If you feel safe doing it, do it. If you don't feel safe,
well,
then don't.
I know gun safety.
Maybe the deer's walking backwards. That's why his tracks are pointed that way. Did you actually see a deer, or you just...
Oh man, this is a big buck. I would have had Dan shoot it if,
Why didn't you get your camera?
and it was just right through thick poison oak. And he was in the truck behind when I got him up there. The buck had moved on up.
Hi there.
So down below here, it's like a strip of trees, and below it, it's kind of open.
Mm-hmm.
The deer are kind of been passing through this area.
Mm-hmm.
So if that guy comes back out,
Okay.
let's go get a deer.
All right, let's go get it.
Lewis, Debbie, and Dan make their way down the hill to make their first evening hunt, with Roseburg shining in the fading light.
Blacktail.
Dan and Debbie Getz of Warren Scope Mounts were looking to fill their first tags in Oregon with blacktail bucks. Lee Sandberg manages multiple properties around Roseburg for cattle and wildlife.
Okay, perfect. And if we think there was a buck with that deer, then it's going to do something different than that doe did. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down there. Okay, see where I'm pointing?
Yep.
And we're going to set up there and we're going to see if Lee can push a deer out in front of us. That's a blacktail, hold on. So that one's gone. Now let's just see what else pops out. Okay. He blew it.
So we've fenced off the riparian areas over here, and we have different pastures on the ranch, so we can rotate the cattle through different areas, which allows the feed to regrow and gives the deer some safe spots. We're trying to keep on top of the predator management, so that way our deer survival rates are up, and then we control the hunting by only allowing certain amount of hunts to come through here each year. So all in all, we hope to do the best for the land and the animals. So the deer freely roam wherever they want, and the cattle are restricted.
Okay, let's go this way. Okay, there is a buck here. There has to be a buck here. So we just gotta see if we can find him. Okay, now we're gonna cut across around the top here and look down that other side, because the bucks always do the opposite thing. So we're gonna see if there's something just kind of hanging out over there.
The tricky part is the hunters have to sort out the black-tailed deer from the Columbia white-tailed deer. The crew makes their way to the hills.
You gotta be like either right up on top or just on the roadside.
Headed up and down Old 2 track, the hunters spotted deer. There were 2 bucks in the group, loafing with the does. Dan was the first out of the vehicle, but even though the buck was close, they couldn't take a safe shot with the buck's skyline on the horizon.
It's alright, put it on safety, we'll ease up there. You got a shotgun gun?
It's not. Do you want it in?
Only if you want to shoot one. Safety's on.
Yep.
Here's your thing to do. We're just going to kind of ease our way up the road. This road switches back.
Okay.
So the deer kind of ran up here and stopped when Sam and I were driving up and kind of saw them. So we just got to kind of look and see where they went. We're just going to take our time. All right.
There were a lot of deer to look at, but the bucks were making themselves scarce. The second day of the hunt was drawing to a close. With one buck nearly 1 mile away on another piece of land, day 2 comes to a close with no good looks at a buck. Day 3. Lewis is feeling the pressure, but Debbie Getz was confident.
I think we're gonna get some blacktail today, for sure. Can feel it in the air. Beautiful day.
Returning to the spot they had seen a buck a day before, they were hoping to find one again in the fog.
That's a buck. That's a shooter.
That's a buck.
Yeah, that one. Okay, he's just walked.
He's walking behind the tree.
Yeah. Okay, you'll see the buck. He's low to the right of the cedar tree. That's a buck. Broadside, right?
That's looking at me?
This broadside?
Yep, looking at you broadside. That's a buck.
That's a buck. Well, you want me to take the shot?
Mm-hmm. Put another bullet in.
I can't.
He's down.
He's down?
Yep.
Woohoo!
See, you know.
I was trusting you guys that it was a buck because I was like, oh, I can't see it. But okay.
It's like we've done this before. I think he fell onto the road.
He did?
Yeah.
Sweet. Let's go get him. All right, you guys.
Good job.
I just trust you guys. There we go. He goes, he's staring right at you. I go, that's a buck? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Good shooting.
I just put the little red dot where you taught me to. I could barely see him. And they said, he's looking at you. And I said, are you sure that's a buck? And they said, yeah, so I took the shot. That was fantastic. My first hunting tag filled in Oregon. Wow. Yeah. Do we have bandits? Okay. Watch that sucker out. Sweet. I did my first tag. I did my first tag. Wow. Trusting Gary and Lee, and it worked. It worked. Yeah.
With one more tag to fill, they headed to the other side of the valley to get out of the fog. Up on the ridgeline, moving from one spot to another, the hunters jumped 2 bucks in the top of the draw. After 3 days of hard hunting, it came easy.
Left side, Dan.
Let the wolf howl.
Good job.
Nice going.
He dropped pretty fast. Couldn't remember if I had one in there or not. It was just, oh shit.
Good job, Sam. Way to spot him. Led us right up to him.
Man, I mean, you just gotta go keep on doing what you're doing. And we're at the 2.5 day mark in this hunt. We worked really hard the last 2.5 days, and so, you take it when you can get it.
Wow.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Almost a set.
Yeah, I know, like you guys do.
2 hunters and their first 2 blacktail bucks in southern Oregon.
There we go.
Coming into the Thanksgiving season, the crew gave thanks for a harvest, a 6.5 Creedmoor, and good friends.